Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the UES Hyperion, watching the unfamiliar stars streak past in brilliant lines of light. 3,000 years had passed since the catastrophe, the day when mysterious beings turned Earth into a molten sphere of death. Humanity survived only because of the colony ships that managed to escape, carrying the remnants of their civilization into the cold embrace of space. The Hyperion represented humanity's pinnacle of achievement since that dark day. A deep space exploration vessel stretching nearly 2 kilometers in length, it carried the most advanced sensors, weapons, and research facilities ever created by human hands. More importantly, it carried hope. Hope of finally discovering who had destroyed their homeworld, and why. "Commander," Lieutenant Kai Rodriguez's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. "We're detecting unusual quantum signatures in Sector 7. The pattern. It's unlike anything in our database." Sarah's heart quickened, but her voice remained steady. "Show me." The holographic display materialized before her, showing complex wave patterns that pulsed with an almost hypnotic rhythm. After 3 millennia of searching, most such anomalies turned out to be natural phenomena or remnants of long-dead civilizations. But something about this signature felt different. "Run it through the ancestral archive," she ordered, referring to the vast database salvaged from Earth in humanity's final hours. The quantum computers processed the request in milliseconds. "Match found," the AI announced, its tone shifting to match the gravity of the discovery. "Pattern corresponds to theoretical weapons signatures documented by Earth's last defense network. 97% correlation." Sarah's fingers tightened on the railing. "Alert the fleet. Begin full spectrum analysis and prepare for potential hostile contact. I want everything we have on this signature." The next 12 hours transformed the Hyperion into a hive of focused activity. Scientists and military personnel worked in perfect synchronization, their movements reflecting generations of training for this very moment. The quantum signature led them to a seemingly empty region of space, but their enhanced sensors revealed something massive lurking just beyond normal spacetime. "Whatever it is, it's old," Chief Scientist Dr. Maya Williams reported, her dark eyes gleaming with excitement. "The energy decay patterns suggest it's been here for at least 3,000 years. Since Earth," Sarah whispered. She straightened her shoulders. Decision made. "Prepare the phase shift drive. We're going in." The Hyperion's revolutionary drive system allowed it to partially shift between dimensional planes, letting it interact with phenomena that existed outside normal spacetime. As the drive engaged, reality itself seemed to ripple around them. What they found changed everything. A massive structure materialized before them, its surface covered in symbols that seemed to write and rewrite themselves continuously. But what caught Sarah's attention were the marks of weapons fire, identical to the scars left on Earth's surface in humanity's final recordings. "We found them," Sarah breathed, her voice carrying the weight of 3,000 years of waiting. "Alert Fleet Command. Tell them Operation Memory is a go." As she watched her crew spring into action, Sarah thought about the billions who had died on Earth, and the countless others who had perished during the Great Exodus. Their sacrifice had not been in vain. Humanity had not only survived but had thrived among the stars, turning their pain into purpose, their loss into strength. The hunt had begun, and this time, humanity would not be the prey. Deep within the structure, ancient systems began to stir, responding to the presence of human DNA. A message, written in quantum particles 3,000 years ago, prepared to reveal itself. The truth about Earth's destruction and humanity's true place in the cosmic order waited to be discovered. Sarah Chen and her crew stood ready, representing not just the best of humanity's present, but the key to understanding its past and ensuring its future. The ancient structure's surface rippled like liquid metal as the Hyperion's research teams worked to decode its secrets. 2 days had passed since their momentous discovery, and Commander Sarah Chen felt the weight of anticipation growing heavier with each passing hour. The combined fleet of humanity's finest ships had begun arriving, taking defensive positions around the massive artifact. Dr. Maya Williams' voice cut through Sarah's thoughts. "Commander, we've managed to interface with what appears to be the structure's primary data core. But there's something unusual about the encryption." Sarah made her way to the research bay, where holographic displays showed streams of complex data patterns. "Unusual how?" "It's responding to human genetic markers," Maya explained, her fingers dancing across the control interface. "More specifically, it's responding to markers that didn't exist when Earth was destroyed. Markers that evolved during our exodus." A chill ran down Sarah's spine. "You're saying whatever built this was expecting us to evolve in specific ways?" "Not expecting," Maya corrected, her voice barely above a whisper. "Engineering." "Commander, I don't think Earth's destruction was an act of elimination. It was catalysis." Before Sarah could process this revelation, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. Multiple quantum signatures detected. They matched the original attack pattern. "Battle stations," Sarah commanded, running toward the bridge. "All ships, defensive formation Delta. Prepare for." She never finished the order. The space around them erupted with brilliant points of light, but instead of weapons fire, they witnessed something extraordinary. Hundreds of crystalline structures emerged from quantum space, each one pulsing with familiar energy patterns. "They're broadcasting a message," Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "In ancient Earth languages, all of them." The message played through the ship's speakers in perfect Sanskrit, then Mandarin, then English. "The children of Earth have awakened. The crucible is complete." Sarah watched in awe as the crystalline structures arranged themselves in a complex geometric pattern around the original artifact. Energy began flowing between them, creating a web of light that encompassed the entire fleet. "Commander," Maya called out, her voice urgent. "The data core, it's unlocking. I'm seeing, by the stars, I'm seeing everything. The true history of Earth, of humanity." The holographic displays came alive with images that shook the foundations of human understanding. They showed Earth, but not as a random planet that happened to spawn life. Earth had been a carefully constructed crucible designed to forge humanity into something greater. The beings responsible for Earth's destruction revealed themselves through the data stream, not as conquerors, but as guardians. They were the predecessors, an ancient race that had discovered a terrible truth about the universe. It was dying, corrupted by entities that existed outside the boundaries of normal spacetime. Earth's destruction hadn't been an end, but a desperate gambit. The predecessors had discovered that human beings possessed unique genetic potential, the ability to evolve rapidly under pressure. By forcing humanity into space, by making them adapt to the harshest conditions imaginable, they had accelerated this evolution exponentially. "Look at this," Maya breathed, bringing up comparative genetic scans. "Our exposure to deep space, the adaptations we developed during the Exodus, they've changed us at a fundamental level. We're not just humans anymore. We're becoming something more." The crystalline structures pulsed in harmony, and new data streamed through their systems. The predecessors had left humanity more than just information. They had through the station's vast observation dome. Sarah watched as another alien ship dropped out of quantum space, this one a massive organic-looking vessel that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. The Meridian, a species that had evolved to become living conduits of quantum energy, had finally arrived. "That's all of them," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, consulting his neural interface. "All 12 species that the predecessors identified as potential allies are now present." Sarah nodded, her mind still processing the scope of what they were about to attempt. The data left behind by the predecessors had been clear. Humanity wasn't meant to fight alone. Their accelerated evolution was just one part of a greater design. "Commander," Dr. Maya Williams called out, approaching with a tall, ethereal being floating beside her. The Meridian quantum speaker wishes to share something before the council convenes. The beam's form shifted like aurora borealis given consciousness. When it spoke, its thoughts translated directly into human understanding. We have confirmed what your scientists discovered. The genetic markers you developed during your exodus, they resonate with the quantum frequency of our own evolution. Different paths, leading to the same destination. Sarah had seen the data. Each of the 12 species had faced their own catastrophic events, forced to adapt and evolve in extreme conditions. The Meridians had survived their sun-going supernova. The crystalline Thalassians had endured the shattering of their planet's core. Each tragedy, carefully orchestrated by the predecessors, had forged them into something new. "The council chamber is ready," Rodriguez announced. "All representatives are in position." The chamber was a marvel of predecessor engineering, a vast circular space where quantum technology allowed perfect communication between all species, regardless of their physical form. Sarah took her place at the human section, acutely aware that she represented not just the UES Hyperion, but all of humanity. The Meridian quantum speaker took the central position, its light form expanding to command attention. "We all know why we're here. The predecessors left us more than just technology and weapons. They left us a warning. The void corruptions are returning. Holographic displays activated, showing massive tears in the fabric of space-time. Through these rifts, something dark and utterly alien writhed and pulsed. The void corruptions, entities that existed outside normal space-time, feeding on the quantum essence of the universe itself. These beings have destroyed countless galaxies," the Thalassian representative added, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of concern. "The predecessors fought them to a standstill, but could not defeat them. So they created us, all of us, to succeed where they failed." Sarah stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of 3,000 years of human determination. "The predecessors didn't just give us technology. They gave us each unique abilities. Humanity's gift is adaptation and innovation. The Meridians can manipulate quantum energy directly. The Thalassians can create weapons from pure crystalline thought. Together, we're stronger than any single species could be alone." The chamber erupted in a cascade of agreement expressed in dozen different ways. Light patterns, crystal harmonics, neural pulses. The coalition was forming exactly as the predecessors had envisioned. "There's more," Dr. Williams announced, bringing up new data streams. "The predecessor artifacts didn't just merge to create this station. They're showing us how to build something greater. A weapon unlike anything that's ever existed. One that requires all 12 of our species working in perfect harmony to create and operate." The holographic display shifted to show a massive construction, a weapon that existed simultaneously in normal space and quantum space. Each species would contribute a crucial component that only they could create or control. "The void corruptions think they're hunting us," Sarah declared, her voice carrying across all translation barriers. "But we're not running anymore. We're not victims or refugees. We're the children of the predecessors. And together, we're going to save this universe." As she looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives of 12 different species, each evolved and forged through their own trials, Sarah felt a surge of hope. Humanity had spent 3,000 years believing they were alone in their suffering, seeking vengeance for Earth. Instead, they had found purpose, allies, and a destiny greater than they could have imagined. The real war was about to begin, and this time, the children of the predecessors would fight it together. The massive quantum forge at the heart of Genesis Point pulsed with energy as the combined efforts of 12 species brought their ultimate weapon into existence. Commander Sarah Chen watched from the control center as the crystalline Thalassians wove impossible patterns into reality, while Meridian energy beings channeled pure quantum force through the growing structure. 2 months had passed since the formation of the coalition, and their work was about to be tested. Long-range sensors had detected a void corruption emergence point forming in a nearby sector. The enemy that had consumed countless galaxies was about to make its first appearance in this realm since the age of the predecessors. Final systems check complete, Dr. Maya Williams reported, her neural interface streaming data from all 12 species simultaneously. The quantum nexus is as ready as it's going to be. The weapon they had created defied traditional physics. It existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, each component tuned to the unique quantum signature of the species that created it. At its heart lay humanity's contribution, an adaptive AI core that could analyze and counter the void corruption's attack patterns in real time. Multiple quantum ruptures detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice cut through the command center. Distance, 40 light minutes and closing. The emergence point is larger than anything in the predecessor records. Sarah squared her shoulders. Alert all coalition vessels. Begin quantum sync procedures. This is what we've prepared for. The combined fleet moved into formation around Genesis Point. Ships of every size and configuration, each representing the pinnacle of their species' technology, linked together through the quantum network. The Meridian vessels pulsed with living energy, while Thalassian crystal ships refracted light in impossible ways. At the center, humanity's advanced warships provided the tactical coordination that would bind their efforts together. Void entities emerging. The Meridian quantum speaker announced, its form flickering with tension. By the eternal flow, there are thousands of them. The view screen showed reality itself tearing open. Through the wounds in space-time came the void corruptions, massive, writhing forms that seemed to absorb both light and sanity. They moved like a plague through space, consuming everything in their path. All ships, maintain formation. Sarah commanded. Remember the simulations. Remember what we're fighting for. She turned to Dr. Williams. Begin Nexus activation sequence. The quantum nexus hummed to life, its multiple dimensional arrays aligning. Each species fed their unique energy signature into the weapon, creating a harmony of power that had never existed before in this universe. The void corruptions sensed the threat. Their mass shifted, tentacles of pure darkness reaching across space toward Genesis Point. Several coalition ships at the perimeter simply ceased to exist, erased from reality by the enemy's touch. Nexus at 60% synchronization. Maya reported, her voice steady despite the losses. We need full power to generate an effective attack pulse. Sarah watched as more ships vanished, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice to buy time. The void corruptions were adapting to their defenses, learning with each passing moment. Just as the predecessors had warned, these beings possessed an intelligence that operated on levels humans could barely comprehend. 80%, Maya called out. The station shuddered as a void tendril brushed against their outer quantum shields. 90%. All ships prepare for full spectrum pulse. Sarah broadcast across the coalition network. Stand firm. We show them here that the children of the predecessors will not fall. The void corruptions surged forward in a final assault, their mass blocking out the stars themselves. At that moment, the quantum nexus reached full power. Energy collected from 12 evolved species, each forged in the crucible of near extinction, focused into a single point of ultimate potential. Fire. The pulse that erupted from the nexus transcended normal physics. It struck the void corruptions simultaneously across multiple dimensions, its power amplified by the unique quantum signatures of all 12 species. Where the pulse touched the dark entities, they began to unravel, their impossible forms torn apart by the very forces they had once commanded. Multiple quantum collapses detected, Rodriguez reported, his voice rising with excitement. The void corruptions are retreating. They're actually retreating. A cheer went up across the coalition network, expressed in a dozen different ways by a dozen different species. They had done what the predecessors themselves could not. They had driven back the void corruptions. But Sarah's expression remained grim. Damage report. We lost 37 ships, Maya reported solemnly. And that was just their advance force. The predecessor data suggests their main invasion fleet is orders of magnitude larger. Sarah nodded, already planning their next move. They had won their first battle. proved that their weapon worked. But the war was just beginning. The void corruptions would return, stronger and more prepared. The coalition would need to be ready. As she looked out at the battlefield, where reality itself had been torn and mended, Sarah Chen understood with perfect clarity why the predecessors had gone to such lengths to forge them all. The universe needed more than just warriors. It needed beings who had faced extinction and emerged stronger, species who knew the cost of survival and were willing to pay it again and again. The next battle would be harder, but they would face it together, the children of the predecessors, united in their determination to save not just their own peoples, but all of reality itself. The quantum sensors of Genesis Point blazed with warnings as reality itself buckled under the approach of the Void Corruption main fleet. Commander Sarah Chen stood at her post, watching as the largest tear in spacetime ever recorded spread across the starfield before them. The Coalition's first victory had bought them 3 precious weeks to prepare. Now, that time was up. Multiple emergence points detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with tension. The predecessor calculations were correct. This force is at least 50 times larger than the first wave. Sarah surveyed the assembled coalition fleet. Their numbers had swelled since the first battle, as more ships from each species arrived to join the fight. The quantum nexus had been modified and strengthened, incorporating lessons learned from their initial encounter. But would it be enough? Commander, Dr. Maya Williams called out, her neural interface streaming data from the predecessor archives. I found something in the deep records, something about the true nature of the void corruptions. The Meridian quantum speaker floated closer, its energy form pulsing with interest. Show us. Maya brought up a complex series of quantum equations. The void corruptions aren't just consuming our universe, they're trying to prevent something. The predecessors discovered that our reality is evolving, becoming something new. The corruptions are like antibodies, trying to stop a metamorphosis they don't understand. And we're the catalyst, Sarah realized, pieces falling into place. That's why they targeted all our species. We're not just survivors, we're agents of change. The massive tear in spacetime erupted with darkness as the main void fleet emerged. Countless writhing forms, each larger than the first wave, began spreading across normal space. The sight defied comprehension, a darkness that seemed to devour hope itself. All ships, battle formations, Sarah commanded, her voice carrying across the coalition network. Remember your training. Remember what we are fighting for. Everything the predecessors created us to be, it leads to this moment. The coalition fleet moved with perfect coordination, each species taking their assigned positions. The Meridians created quantum barriers of pure energy, while Thalassian crystal ships formed geometric patterns that strengthened reality itself against the void's corruption. They're adapting to our quantum signatures, Maya warned as the first attacks began. The Nexus won't be as effective as last time. Sarah had expected this. Initiate Protocol Omega. All ships. Commence quantum frequency shift. This was humanity's greatest contribution to the battle, the ability to adapt and change. Each coalition vessel began shifting its quantum signature in patterns developed by human scientists, making them harder targets for the void entities to erase from existence. The battle erupted across multiple dimensions. Void tendrils of impossible darkness struck against shields of pure energy and crystalline thought. Coalition ships fought with everything they had, using weapons and techniques that merged the strengths of all 12 species. But the void corruptions were overwhelming. Ship after ship vanished, erased from reality. The quantum barriers began to fail under the relentless assault. Nexus power at maximum, Maya reported. But it's not enough. They're adapting faster than we can adjust. Sarah watched as a group of Meridian ships sacrificed themselves to block a major void thrust toward Genesis Point. The Thalassians were losing coherence, their crystal formations cracking under the strain. Everything they had built was on the verge of collapse. That's when she saw it, a pattern in the quantum data that Maya had discovered. The universe wasn't just evolving. It was waiting for them to understand. All ships disengage from current formations, Sarah commanded, her voice carrying an authority that cut through the chaos. Dr. Williams, reconfigure the Nexus. We're not going to fight the void. We're going to complete the metamorphosis. Maya's eyes widened as she grasped the concept. The coalition ships broke formation, creating new patterns that mirrored the quantum equations from the predecessor archives. The quantum nexus hummed as its purpose shifted from weapon to catalyst. Every species, channel your energy into the nexus, Sarah broadcast, not to destroy, to transform. Understanding rippled through the coalition. The meridians began pulsing with pure quantum force. The Thalassians reformed their crystals into amplification arrays. Every ship, every being, poured their unique energy into the nexus. The void corruptions sensed the change, their assault becoming desperate. But it was too late. The quantum nexus released its power not as a weapon, but as a key, unlocking the potential that the universe had been building toward since the first stars formed. Reality itself began to shift. The void entities found themselves not destroyed, but transformed, their destructive nature converted into something new. The tear in spacetime sealed itself as dimensions realigned into a higher configuration. When it was over, the universe had changed. The coalition ships hung in space, their sensors recording a reality that operated on new principles that they were now part of. The void corruptions were gone, not destroyed but evolved, just as the predecessors had planned. Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Genesis Point, watching the new universe unfold before them. The combined power of 12 evolved species, working in harmony, had not just saved reality. They had helped it become something greater. "Send word to all coalition worlds," she ordered, her voice soft with wonder. Tell them that the children of the predecessors have fulfilled their purpose, and our real journey is just beginning." The stars seemed brighter somehow, pulsing with new potential. Humanity had begun this journey seeking vengeance for Earth's destruction. Instead, they had found their true destiny, not as conquerors or victims, but as guardians of a universe reborn. The war was over. The age of evolution had begun.